Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen and to my home. Today we're going to be making a very popular cake. It's actually one of the most popular cakes ever, worldwide. You'll find it in the menu of every restaurant or cafe. Today I want to share with you this recipe of the carrot cake because I believe it's one of the best tasting carrot cakes that I ever tried. So here in Jordan there's a bakery that I absolutely love and they have a really good carrot cake. So one day I was looking at the leaflet at the menu and I was reading the description of the carrot cake and it says carrot pineapple cake. So when I went back home, I researched for recipes of carrot cake that include pineapple, and apparently there's a lot. So it's very common that pineapple is used in carrot cakes, and I tried out a few recipes, and this one that I'm going to show you today is my absolute favorite. I believe it's the one that is closest to the bakery I'm telling you about. It is really good. The pineapple though, they are optional. You don't have to have them in the carrot cake, but trust me, you do. So now let's go over the ingredients together. So the basic ingredients that you need for this cake are vegetable oil, vanilla, eggs, sugar, flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, and ground cinnamon. You need, of course, shredded carrots and walnuts. And as I was explaining, pineapples. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the shredded carrots. So as you can see, my carrots are finely shredded or finely grated. Okay, so here you have all the sizes of the graters. So you have this size, which is basically to shred cheese, and then you have the zester, which is for usually lemon zest or orange zest, and you have the smaller size, which is this size right here. This is what you want to use to shred your carrots. This size would give you way too big of carrot shreds. They would be almost carrot pieces, so that's not what you want to use. This one would give you like tiny little pieces of carrots that you will not even see, and they're gonna like disappear into your cake. So this is the size that you want to use. And now I want to tell you how I chop my walnuts. So you need to have your walnuts chopped coarsely. You can of course use a food processor, but what I do is I put them in a clear plastic bag, and then using a glass with a flat bottom, you're gonna break up your walnuts. And be careful here, don't pound the glass on the table, just break the walnuts and they will break very easily. Next, I'm going to crush the pineapples or puree them using a food processor, or I'm just going to use my hand blender here. As you can see, I didn't turn them into a juice, I just pureed them to get fine shreds, like that. And last but not least, you want to prepare your pans. So I'm going to divide my batter into 2 pans because I want to have a layer cake. You can of course use another pan to make a 3-layer cake. So what you're going to do is you're going to grease your pan. Just going to pour a little bit of oil. And using a paper towel, I'm going to distribute the oil all over the pan. And then I'm going to line them with wax paper or parchment paper. If you don't want to use wax paper or parchment paper, which by the way I strongly recommend that you do, but if you don't have it or if you don't want to use it, what you're going to do is you're going to grease and flour your pan. Greasing your pan alone will not ensure that your cake won't stick. So you'd have to grease your pan and you would have to sprinkle some flour on it. And for the cream cheese frosting you will need powdered sugar, cream cheese, butter, and vanilla. And as usual, I will be listing all the exact ingredients in the description box below the video. To start off, we're going to preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to mix our dry ingredients together and set them aside. So to my flour, I'm going to add the baking powder, baking soda, salt, and ground cinnamon. And just give them a quick whisk. And set them aside. And then using a stand mixer, I'm going to mix my wet ingredients, which are the eggs, the oil, and the sugar. If you don't have a stand mixer, just use a hand mixer or a whisk. So I'm going to start by beating the eggs on medium speed for about 1 or 2 minutes. After that, I'm going to add my sugar and continue beating on medium speed for another 2 or 3 minutes. When the mixture becomes fluffy and pale in color, I'm going to add the oil. Okay, when my wet ingredients are well incorporated, I'm going to gradually add my flour in 2 or 3 additions. Between each addition, just scrape down the sides to make sure the flour is well incorporated. One very important thing to mention is that you don't want to overmix your flour mixture. Just mix it until it's combined. That means until you can't see the flour anymore. And that's it. So the flour is just incorporated. I'm going to scrape down the sides and then fold in the other ingredients. I forgot to add the vanilla, but that's okay. I'll just add it now. Okay, so now I'm going to add the shredded carrots. And the chopped walnuts. And just fold them into the batter. And last but not least, the pineapples. And that's it. So now I'm going to pour my batter evenly in the 2 pans. Okay, so I evenly divided the batter in the 2 pans. I'm just going to give them a tap to ensure that any air bubbles come out. And now I'm going to bake them in the preheated oven. I'm not going to give you an exact timing because the baking time depends on the size of your pans. And for example, if you're putting the batter in one single pan, then the baking time is much longer than if you put them in 2 baking pans. Same thing, if you're using 3 pans, then the baking time is shorter. So we want to bake them until we do the toothpick test, which is basically when you insert a toothpick in the center of the pan, of the batter, it comes out clean without any liquid on it. But for this size, it should take about half an hour to 40 minutes. Okay, so my cake's baked for 35 minutes. So you check for doneness by inserting a knife or a toothpick in the center of the cake. And if the knife comes out clean, with no batter on it, like this, that means your cake is ready. Okay, so now I'm going to flip my cake on a cooling rack. It's kind of hot. Remove the wax paper, and then I'm going to actually just flip it again and let it cool completely. Gonna do the same thing with the, ouch, it's hot. Gonna do the same thing with the other one. Remove the wax paper. So now we're going to let them cool completely for at least half an hour. Meanwhile, we're going to do the cream cheese frosting. Okay, so now we're going to do the cream cheese frosting. It is very important that your butter and your cream cheese are at room temperature, which means that I have to be able to poke the butter with my fingers, and same thing for the cream cheese, but actually the cream cheese is much softer than the butter. Again, I am using a standing mixer for this, using the paddle attachment. If you don't have one, just use a hand mixer. I'm going to start by putting the butter and the cream cheese and beat on low speed until they're creamed together and smooth for about 1 or 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to sift my powdered sugar. And then I'm going to add my sugar. You can add it all at once, it's fine. Mix it until the frosting becomes creamy and no lumps. If you find that your frosting is a little bit too runny, then keep adding more sugar until you get the consistency you're looking for. And actually that's what I'm going to do right now. If you see the frosting is too runny, I'm not going to be able to spread it like this. So I'm going to add some powdered sugar. Just do it 1 or 2 tablespoons at a time until you reach the consistency you want. which is the spreadable consistency. I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. So now I'm just gonna scrape the paddle and the bowl and start frosting my cake. Okay, so now it's time to frost the cake. My cakes have cooled completely. They're cold to the touch, so they're harder and firmer than when I first took them out of the oven. So they are ready to be frosted. What you're gonna do is you're going to take a flat dish and place one of the layers, and then you're going to take about 1/3 of the frosting and spread it on the top of the cake. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the other layer and just press it down on the cake. If your cakes are too rounded, you can just cut off the top just to make them flat. But mine weren't that rounded, so it's fine, like this. Now, you can leave the cake like this. You can just frost the top. You can do whatever you want, basically. But me, I'm going to frost the whole thing. I'm going to put all the remaining frosting on the cake, and I'll work with it. So start at the top and work towards the outside, and you'll see the frosting will start to fall off or drip off the edges. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take an offset spatula and just frost the sides. And it's much easier if you have a cake stand, obviously, but if you don't have one, it's fine. You'll manage. Try to even out the frosting as much as you can, but don't worry if it's not perfect. So now we finished frosting the cake. You can go ahead and eat it now. I'm going to show you how I personally like to decorate the carrot cake. You can do that if you want, but you don't have to, obviously. So I like to take whole walnuts and just place them around the top like that. I think it just looks really pretty. One more or two more? No, one is fine. And one in the center, maybe. And then what I like to do is I like to grate some carrots like that. Randomly sprinkle them around the walnuts, because you want people to know that this is a carrot cake, you know? And if you really want to get creative, just do these on the side too. It's a pretty color, like pretty orange color around the plate. And voila! Okay guys, we're done. We baked the cake, we frosted the cake, we decorated the cake, and now it's time to eat the cake. On to my favorite part. I can already tell that it's very moist from the way the knife is going through it. So this is what the inside looks like. It is super moist. I can't even stop eating to tell you how good it is. That's how good it is. Okay guys, that's it for me today. I really hope you liked this video, and I know that you will love this cake if you do it. I really hope you try it. If you do, please share your pictures with me and give me your comments. And of course, if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Bye!